Hi, it's Kris and Elizabeth. Welcome back to our global summit. We are here with our next guest, Robert Grace. We are so excited to have you.
Hello. Good to be here.
Well, he's got the best smile in the world. It's just, we're all smiling because you're smiling, Robert. It's wonderful. Okay, so I want to make sure, I'm going to look down a little bit at my notes for a second here, just to make sure that I get you introduced properly. But
Okay.
I love this. You're known in the fitness community as the mind, body, soul connector. And you're a celebrity wellness expert with a history of ballet that we'll talk about. Give people a real good overview of who you are, and you founded what is known as Brace Life Studios.
Correct.
And I'd love to just start there and talk about what that is, and feel free to give us more information about yourself too.
Okay, yes. So like you said, I came to New York from London as a professional ballet dancer. And then through a series of meetings and divine intervention, I actually ended up becoming an ordained minister in Harlem for 6 years. And so what I do a lot is connect the physical with the spiritual. And so what we do at Brace Life Studios is it's a personal training studio, a wellness studio, where we get to put into practice our philosophy of connecting mind, body, and soul. And we're also known for transforming bodies in 28 days. So people seek us out for that. And we've just launched our new exciting app, the Brace Life app, where it's the first app with personalized engagement data to help you track and improve your mind, body, and soul lifestyle. So everybody here can get that free for 14 days at thebracelife.com. So
yeah. Glitter. We throw imaginary glitter everywhere. And
okay, glitter. Okay.
First of all, thank you so much for that amazing gift. Our listeners and viewers in this summit are going to be so thrilled to have access for those 14 free days. We'll put all the information below this video so folks can see, and on our giveaways right up, so everybody will know about that, how generous and how amazing that they get to sample that. The great thing is we talked to you not too long ago about this when you were first kicking the app off, and I just think it's amazing. What I love is and I'll get you to talk about it more. I know you've just mentioned that it's mind, body, and soul. Talk to us about why that trifecta is important in your health and well-being.
Well, I think it's so important for everybody because we tend to separate them, right? We're working on our body and then it's just physical. We're working on our mind and it's just a mental endeavor. But what I found, especially through my weird journey from being totally focused on the physical to being focused on the spiritual, is that both connect, right? And what I mean by that is, you hear mind, body, soul, mind, body, spirit all the time, and it's hard to kind of figure out what does it mean, where do they connect? When you think about your physical body, you've heard the phrase, your body is a temple, right? And so when you think about your physical body, yes, it is a temple. But when the ancients built temples, they built it to make them beautiful. Any temple you look at is beautiful, right? And they built it that way to reflect the glory, the power, the strength, the beauty of the spirit that resides within that temple. And at the same time, all of these temples, whether it's a religious faith or a spiritual walk, have a way of looking at things, a philosophy, right? And so you look at that, the mind, the temple, the spirit, and the philosophy, it's the same thing in our bodies. We have this temple which we live in, right? But what's more important than just the physical is the spirit within inside it, because everybody has some goodness in them, some greatness in them, some kind of giving spirit. And that's the gold, right? That's why we need to be healthy, so that we can give of that goodness and that greatness within our spirit. And also, the more oxygen when you move, more oxygen to your brain, you think clearly, your mind works better. And so I think right now, especially with what we're going through in the world during this pandemic, as a nation, we've got this new normal where we're stuck inside all of the time. We're learning new acronyms, WFH, work from home, right? You've got home remote learning. People are under stress. And so it's more important than ever to really understand how those things connect and how they can help you overcome stress, live a healthier life with more of a clearer perspective. So your body is your temple, but all three of those things are getting lifted up: your mind, your body, and your soul.
So let's say I get your app and in theory, I'm like, yes, mind, body, soul sounds good. But in reality, I'm like, I don't really want to think about, I just want to do the workouts. Like,
okay.
how like keep you accountable to all three? Because ultimately, if you're asking me, of course I want to do all three. But in real life, I'm just like, no, Robert, I'm going to leave the temple over here and I'm going to sweat over here. Like,
okay, well, you can do that. And I'm glad you asked that question, because on the app, it's specifically designed. Look, if you want to just work out, and I'm all for that, I'm all for changing the body, right? Sometimes I talk, look, and to your point, sometimes I talk about mind, body, and soul, and people are like, yeah, that's great. But what about that 28-day challenge? Can I transform my body in 28 days? But the way that it's planned is that if you want to, you can work a little bit on your mind every day, just 10 to 20 minutes, right? Especially in the morning. That's when your brain is, in the first 20 minutes of your day is when your brain is in alpha stage, ready to receive the most positive messaging. That's when we try to get you positive message that sets up your day. Then you can either work out half an hour or 10 minutes, right? Just to get some movement going. And then for your soul, there's meditations that will calm your spirit, that will get you to where you need to be. So what I say is give people what they want. You want to work out, and that's all you want to do. Start working out, but just try a little bit, just a little bit of that mind and that spirit, and it will become a little bit more addictive as you see how it benefits your body and your whole life. So
if I'm best ever you, and I've discovered you, and I'm new to everything. I'm, for example, like, let's say I'm in the worst shape of my life, or I'm recovering from an injury or something like that. Where do we start?
Okay. Well, I think I'll separate. Of course, on the app, there's different places you can start. There are easier workouts. There's yoga, there's restorative. And so there's a whole range of things that you can do, right? But in general, what I say is meet yourself where you're at, right? Because I think in fitness and wellness, there is so much pressure to, all right, if I'm going to work out, I have to go real hard. I've got to do it every day. And you know, that's great and everything. But what's really going to encourage you and also help you is for you to start with what your body can handle and take step by step by step, because incrementally, as you see progress, you'll be more encouraged to move forward. Now, there was this time I was on this this other Instagram page, and I was doing this whole wellness thing on their page, and you know, part of it was pretty intense, but I was always trying to give the message: start wherever you can. And so one of the most inspiring things, and we ran a competition, but one of the most inspiring things is we had someone write in and she said, look, I'm in a wheelchair and I see you jumping around all of the time. And she said, you know what? You encouraged me to start where I'm at. So I sit here in my wheelchair and I do what I can. And the stuff that I can't do, I just watch and be inspired by it. And so for me, that's like, yeah, start where you're at. Right. It does. And don't, how do I say this? Don't allow other people's expectations or the normal expectation to discourage you from getting what you need for your body. Right. I'm all about pushing. I'm all about, you know, encouraging people to do their best and going beyond their comfort level, you know, but that's different for everybody. And so, you know, my biggest thing is, I just want you to be encouraged to do a little bit better, whatever that means for you in this moment, wherever you're at. So
I have a layup to my question. Kind of like going through every scenario of the way people think here.
Okay.
In my head going, okay, what should I ask him next? Often we see people who are like, but I just want to get back. So I'm like, let's say they're 50. I just want to get back to my old high school self.
Okay. I have a passion for people who are 50 and over. Here's the deal.
Which I am in your camp there. Kris is not.
Okay.
I won't drag her in.
Please continue what you were saying.
So listen up. First of all, this is not just me. This is a New York Times article. And the New York Times article said, especially for women, when they begin to work out over 40, they actually get stronger, in better health, and in better shape than when they were younger. right? Now, there are all different kinds of societal reasons why. So there's that. And then secondly, what me and my team always say is we have a ton of women who are over 50 who are in incredible shape. And me and one of my main guys, Salim, what we're always saying is we would put our 50-year-olds up against any 20-year-old group any day of the week, right? Even if you go to my page, my Instagram page right now, we just posted a transformation of one of our clients who's 57. She's 57 and she got the outline in her abs, right? And she has this really emotional testimony. But, you know, I think wanting to get back to where you were, that's great, you know, but you might be missing out, because if you try to be the best you can possibly be right now, you might end up being better than you were back in your high school days. So don't discount, you know, I've seen 50-year-olds all the time who are in incredible shape and who are in better shape now than they ever were.
Yeah, because, you know, we're your athletes.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yes.
You remember?
Yeah.
The gymnast and the volleyball player.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I love that story about the woman 57, transformative. And, you know, you briefly mentioned before the 28-day transformation program. And so talk to me a little bit about that, because now I'm putting on that doubting Thomas hat where I'm like, really, 28 days, really? And I know you'll tell a story of how it actually got upgraded to 28, because I believe it was 30 or 32 to start. You tell.
Yeah.
How did this?
Well, look, to be quite honest, I think people's skepticism is founded, right? If you look in the fitness world, there is so much out there that promises all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's not really true. So we get this all of the time. And at first I used to get upset by it, but it's like, you know what? No, people do have a point, right? So the way that it started, there's two ways that it started. All right. First way that it started, when I was dancing and I was on scholarship, I got a back injury. And long story short, they said they were going to expel me from the school unless I healed over the summer. I spent the whole summer working on my body, and in those 5 to 6 weeks, transformed my body, healed, and got it back in shape for dancing professionally. So I learned a lot just working on my own injuries. And years later, I had a friend who makes these crazy movies, these crazy videos, and he said to me, look, I'm going to do my next project. He's a comedian. And he says, I see all this stuff where magazines say you can work out and get abs in 30 days. Is this really possible? And at the time, I'd never done it in that way, but I was thinking about what I did in the dance studio. So I said, yeah, sure. Right. So of course we can do it. So we did this project.
What was the next word? Oh, yeah, sure. And then what do you think in your head?
I was like, oh shoot, I've got to make this work. So because it was going to be on camera and all of that. So we started working, and the project was to get 6-pack abs in 30 days, right? Comedian's name is Mark Malcolm. And so we did it, but we got it in 28 days, right? And so, and it was working out, it was meal plan, it was the whole thing. And it was a lot of the principles I used to heal my body. And so that became the 28-day challenge. And at that time, it was 2011. This is the 10th year of the 28-day challenge, by the way. And we're starting a new one, which anybody can join on the app on March 1st. But that video ended up getting close to 1 million views. It got like 900 and something thousand views, right, on some obscure little platform. And so people wanted to do the program. And so since then, over the years, it's been the one thing that people seek us out for, is that 28-day transformation. And it can be done in 28 actual calendar days or 28 actual workouts. So there's two versions, right? 28 workouts is a little bit longer than the 28 calendar days. But either way, we can get you from point A to point B in those 28 days in a safe way that's not too crazy.
That's awesome. So I'm going to go back to asking you questions about the different things people think. What if I start something like, let's say I start the 28-day challenge, and then I'm really great for the first 5 days, and then I'm not so great. I'm day 6, 7 through 28.
Right. Well, a lot of people experience that, especially at the beginning of the year. So there's two ways to look at that, right? First of all, if you fall off the wagon, what do they say? They say fail fast and fail forward, right? So failure is not fatal. You learn from it. You figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and don't take it as, I mean, failure is not really the right word, but don't take it as failure. Take it as more information. This didn't work for me because of A, B, and C. Maybe it's not the right program for me. Maybe I don't need to be doing it when my kids are, you know, in the living room with me, right? So you figure that out. But then the second thing, really, for long-term lifestyle change, which is what we really want. Because I see the 28-day challenge. Yes, it's the glitzy one and people change really quickly and all of that, but it's a gateway because that's what people want. So I want to give people what they want and then teach them what they need, right? There's this word called eudaimonia, and it's a Greek word. And it's when you're setting goals, the goals that are going to help you stay committed are goals that are connected to your core beliefs and your deeper life goals and dreams, right? And so what they found is short-term goals are great for getting you, you know, making these small steps, right? But once you hit a short-term goal, there's kind of like they notice a little bit of a depression. What next, right? So say you get these great results, now you just got to maintain for the rest of your life, and then you're almost like a prisoner of your own success trying to maintain, right? As opposed to keeping evolving. So the way that you continue and have a lifestyle is where you're like, you know what, right now my goal, I have two beautiful daughters, right? And so I want to be around as long as I can. I want to be they're both active. One plays volleyball, one's in gymnastics, right? You know, and so I want to be around as long as I can and as an active presence in their life. And also so that, you know, my wife is supported and we have the energy to give, right? So yeah, getting in shape is great, but there's a bigger goal. And so once you figure out what your big why is, then when you fall off the wagon a little bit, it's like, okay, this is temporary because my life goal is connected to my lifestyle. And that's how I can continue to live that way, as opposed to it just being these short bursts, right? So that's how I view that.
When you look at your mind, body, soul, do you think there's one that people find the most hard to embrace or to really invite in? Is there one that stands out for you as the hardest struggle? I mean, I know there's an individual story there, but I'm just curious if you're like, this is the one that needs usually.
Yeah, I think that it's the soul, and when we talk about soul, okay, you can talk about the eternal soul. That's not what I'm talking about, right? When we talk about the body, is obviously the physical aspect of us. The mind is the thinking, problem solving, creative part of who we are, right? And the soul is where we feel joy, we feel happiness, we feel love, we feel connection, right? But to really feed your soul, you got to slow down. You got to be able to slow down and catch up with yourself. And I think we're moving so quickly, we're connected to all the time, we're working all of the time, that sometimes we don't just pause and really connect with, what am I feeling? How did this past year really affect me, right? What are the joys in my life that I really need to, like, even just, oh, that's Siri jumping into my conversation there. Sorry about that. You're good. Okay. Keep going, yeah. So
everybody wants to be a part of the Brace life. Everybody.
That's funny. So it's about slowing down and really connecting with the soul level qualities that you really want. And I think a lot of it has to do with we're such a production, performance oriented society that we feel like if we slow down or if we stop, it's selfish, right? Like, oh, I should be doing something else, or I should be doing this, and self-care isn't selfish, it's self-full. It's you filling yourself up so you can be your highest, most elevated self. And so ultimately you'll end up giving back more, but you can't pour from an empty cup, right? I'm English, we drink tea, right? So if you have a cup and you put the cup in the saucer, that overflow, right? The overflow that spills into the cup is where you serve from, right? But we're running around so much, we're not feeding our souls enough so we can really give. And so I think that's the thing that people really need to slow down, because that's where the joy is. That's where the happiness is. That's what's really going to matter, you know, at the end of all of this running around and trying to get all of this stuff done on your to-do list.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I know one of the things that you talked to me earlier about the app about as well is that you can use it throughout the day for long or short times. Because one thing for me is I do sometimes champion that busyness, and I'm like, yes, I'm so busy. Look at me. I'm so busy and important. I'm too busy for this. I only have 92 seconds. Maybe like, is there something for the really busy person that, like, talk about that a little bit, right? How the app can be used throughout the day and different times. I know you mentioned like the 10-minute, the 30-minute, but what if someone's like 10 minutes? Like, I don't have 10 minutes.
Right. There's a short inspiration that is just 2 minutes, right? And even with those 10 minutes workouts, you can actually break them down into 3 minutes if you're that busy. And that's what goes back to start where you're at. If you're like, I'm so busy, I cannot stop, right? Okay, that's fair enough. That's where you're at. Okay. Can you give me 5 minutes, right? If you can give me 5 minutes, you've got 2 minutes of inspiration in the morning, 1 set of exercises, and a breathing exercise. That's it. It's your mind, body, and soul right there. 5 minutes, right?
I'm going to challenge you there for a minute, though, because is that really healthy? Just 5 minutes? I mean, like, really, it truly. See, like, if somebody came across my coaching and I'm like, you can't give me 5 minutes, huh? I would really talk to them about time management. Do you think?
Right.
Can you?
Well, I think there's 2 ways to look at it, right? Because if you're too busy to do anything, and I can't convince you that you need to do more, right? Then let me get you to 5 minutes, right? And then you're like, oh, I actually do feel better when I move. Oh, I actually do feel better when I do this breathing exercise. Oh, I'm actually more productive, right? Okay, so if you're more productive after 5 minutes, what's going to happen after 10? Right. And so, and taking more data, and plus it's knowing who your clients are. As I'm sure you guys are coaches, I'm sure you know. Some people just need to be like, look, stop, just sit down, do the hour. You need to do, right? So you got to know who you're talking to, right? But I think it depends where you're at, depends on the person in front of you. And you know, even for me, like you guys, I'm doing a new venture. We've got this app, we've got other stuff going on. And I made a point of clearing out my schedule in the morning just so I can sit and think through stuff. Not even I'm going to accomplish A, B, C, and D. I just need to think, right? And so that's when I do my best work, is when I shut everything down. I sit and I think about how these different things are going to, you know, affect each other, right? And that's part of that whole thing, is slowing down, and you end up being more productive in the end. And also, you know, the happiness advantage shows that the happier you are, right, the more productive you are. Whereas what we typically think is the more productive I am, the happier I'll be. And we put our happiness on the other side of production. And there's always going to be another if, another when, another thing. And we keep delaying our happiness, and, you know, it affects our production, rather than let's get happy, go into whatever you're doing with a positive, happy attitude, a calm spirit. You're going to get more done.
Yeah, I recently saw someone, I won't say the name of who it is, but and that's not us, Kris.
I won't say who it is.
It really isn't, Kris. But I did see somebody with a whiteboard, like an actual whiteboard, and it's a person who prides themselves on teaching time management. And I'm like, wow, every nanosecond of that whole entire schedule is white, blue, green, yellow. Everything is taped and labeled. I mean, every second of the day, I'm like, I'm not I'm not certain that's what time management is.
Right.
I'm not. That's a little maybe judgy or whatever. But I mean, when we come across people managing time, especially when it's when it's in respect to their comprehensive well-being, I think one of the most important things is to take a giant step back from your schedule and, like you said, like really look at what you're doing, how you're spending your time, because it affects your mind, your body, your spirit, your soul, your comprehensive well-being. And if you've got every nanosecond scheduled to the point where you don't have 5 minutes even, that could be a wake-up call coming down the pike.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think a lot of people end up with anxiety and, you know, depression just because they're trying to do so much. You know, we weren't built to move this fast, you know?
Yeah, I'm a reformed, pride myself on being busy person. So I pride myself on my free time now.
Right.
I think it's an important shift. If people can do one thing for themselves, it's shifting into that pausing and being still and taking, like, I love, Robert, when you said you take that time to sort of slow down, and by down, it's almost like you actually speed up once you push go.
Yeah.
Because you've taken that time. And it's such a, you know, it's a paradox, like slow down, then you'll speed up. Like it doesn't necessarily, people's brains don't necessarily get that. And so part of that inner work, I mean, what has that been like for you? Because obviously looking at your background, when you said you were a dancer and you were like highly, highly into the physical, and you were just like a performance athlete. And I know you've said you're sometimes have caught yourself almost being like, I'm addicted to the workout. I love the workout. Or you're really passionate about that physical side. And now you've found that balance and you know that inner work is so important. Like, how would you speak to that about people who are really struggling to slow down and to find that pause?
I think I know. I mean, I can speak from two places. I know for me personally, I am wired to be go, go, go. Like that's just my DNA, right? I want to get a lot done and I want to do a lot of different things. And, you know, just over the years, people who have taught me and what I've seen in my own life is that it's not as effective because, especially when you're trying to build something, there's this thing called opportunity distraction, right? Like you see so many different opportunities that you just want to do them all, right? And so you end up going in 10,000 different directions when the things, what someone told me was keep the main thing, and slowing down to always reconnect with, all right, is the main thing still the main thing? And one of the exercises one of my coaches helped me do was to slow down and write down what was really important to me. And this was for business goals. They're like, okay, your business is a vehicle to a certain life. It's not the be all and end all in itself. So what is it? What life do you want to live and what life do you want to lead? And so when I slowed down and started to think about that, it put my business in its proper place and helped me start to get perspective of how it's going to support my life. And as I start, even now, as I go back to that document, a lot of those things have been accomplished, right? Some of them I didn't think would be accomplished as soon as they have been. But I know for me, I need to slow down and think through those things. And I realize it's just where I do my best work, right? Even though sometimes I don't give myself the opportunity to do it, when I actually do it, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is just cut down on probably about a week and a half of work because I'm keeping the main thing, as opposed to like going after all of these other shiny opportunities that are not getting me to where I really want to be.
Yeah. You mentioned journaling. So I love journaling and writing. Do you still do journaling? Do you still use writing as a tool for yourself?
Yeah, I do. Mine looks crazy. It's like nobody else could read it because it's just like, but yeah, I do because it just helps me get things on paper. And even before I sit and type stuff, I have to like write it down and then put it into a Word document. So it's just a process I've had for years.
So what if this out of the blue here a little bit, but what are five things? That's our laundry going off or something. I don't know what that was.
That's my volleyball daughter coming in, who I texted and told not to buzz to come in. I said, text your mother before you come in.
Okay. She can come on the video too and say hello.
Yeah.
It's a family. But what are 5 things that you do every day to help yourself be successful?
Okay. 5 things every day. Make a point of thinking about what I'm grateful for. That happens every day. Definitely counting my blessings. Secondly, meditate, pray every day, because that just calms my spirit, puts my soul in a good place. Got to connect with people. And when I say that, I mean, you know, I'm lucky that I'm around people a lot with what I do. The pandemic has definitely, like, you know, hampered that. But yeah, but it's really important to me, you know, whoever it is. It can be at home, it can be a friend, it can be someone, just to have that human connection is really important. I move every day, so that's just a given, right? That's I have to move. And then I think I always find a time to relax. And for me, the way I relax is I love watching super intense movies or super intense documentaries. It just, for me, shuts out all of the noise. But that's one of the things I do there's other things I do, but that's one of my favorite things to do. So I guess that's 5.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Kris.
I was going to say thank you. I also love action movies. I was going to get all actiony, but we talked at the same time. I'm fighting my tongue. Superhero case, but that is something I really love too. I just find it just sort of takes my mind off everything, and you're cheering for that superhero. And I often I dream of myself being a superhero multiple times. Do you have that after the movie? You're like, I'm flying through the air. I'm battling world crisis with my superpower.
I haven't had that yet, but maybe now that's going to start.
If you could have a superpower, which one would it be?
Oh man, I think, I mean, this has nothing to do with anything else, but I'd like to read people's minds.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
I was gonna be all fluffy and be like, I want to have the touch of kindness. Oh, I just touched you. All right. I really want to be able to fly. I would fly. I'm flying. I'm coming to you in New York and Maine.
There you go.
I love it. Do you have, and we're going to go pretty soon here too, just out of respect for time, but do you have a couple of exercises that you really absolutely recommend that, you know, a majority of the people can do? Do you have any kind of
yeah,
the plank or whatever it is?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think there are loads of it depends. I think for weight loss and for strength and for endurance and for building lean muscle mass in a short amount of time that's been proven healthy for your heart is interval training. And you hear it a lot, but when it's done right and done safely, interval training is short bursts of intense activity followed by short bursts of rest, right? And so we do a protocol called Tabatas where you push for 20 seconds, you rest for 10 seconds, you repeat that cycle 8 times. And the reason it's great is obviously as you push as hard and as fast as you can, your metabolism is boosted. And so you get all of those benefits, the physical, weight loss, the aesthetics, but also it improves your heart function. They actually give interval training to people who have had heart attacks or have had heart issues because it's powerful enough to stimulate the heart, but short enough not to damage it, right? And then it improves your endurance. It's just a great protocol, which we use a lot. And then I just think people do not stretch enough. Stretching can mean bit long stretching. It can mean body manipulation, things like there's techniques where it's just about moving your bones so that your muscles release and your muscles relax. And you can do that whether you're sitting, whether you're standing. There's a technique called Alexander technique or Feldenkrais technique. And all of that helps you open up your body incrementally. So I think those two things, interval training, because it's short, quick, and easy, and stretching because it just helps release your body, release those tensions, prevents injury, and helps you feel better.
other than standing up right now as an
Mm-hmm.
exercise, as we're sitting here in a chair, I'm thinking of people in their offices, like in
Right.
their chair all day and things like that. Is there anything you can do in your chair right here, right now, that's visible on the screen to help yourself out of maybe posture or?
Yeah, well, the first thing is, if I scoot back a bit, is always making sure that you're sitting with good posture, so that your shoulder blades are back, you're pulling up a little bit from below your belly button, right? And you're sitting nice and tall. And then I talked about those body manipulation things, right? And this is one that's so simple. You put your hand on your shoulder, and first you rotate your shoulder blade big circles all the way into your back, and then you draw as big a circle as you can with your elbow all the way back, still sitting upright, but try to make it not so much about the muscle, but about the bone, right? Getting as much, there you go. You make it more about the bone, rotating that bone, and then you take your arm all the way up and you release it back. And something as simple as that, right? And we do that in our class before we start. Something as simple as that is going to open up, your shoulders and help you relax, especially this tension here that we're all doing this all day, right? We'll release that. So that's one simple thing. There are many more like that.
Thank you for that. Okay, one more and then we got to go. What are, I'm going with the 5 things. Can you hear me still? Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead. Yep.
What are 5 things that you eat every day, or that you would recommend that we eat every day?
I eat eggs every day, egg whites every day. Drink a lot of water every day. Greens you got to eat every day. For me, it's usually spinach, asparagus, sometimes kale. And then, you need healthy grains, you need healthy carbohydrates. So multi-grain toast, or like a brown rice, or quinoa, or wild rice, or something like that. And then really fruits as well, and I say fruit specifically, and this is me, I have a intense sweet tooth.
Because you're talking about Oreo cookies.
So for me, if I don't get my sweets from fruits, I'm going to be, all the way in, right? So, I found the fruits that I like: blueberries, watermelon, strawberries, all low glycemic fruits that have a really good sweetness to them that can help me, not go off the deep end.
That I just recently lost 20 pounds, and I'm eating a lot of red grapes these days.
Right.
And I too share the love of everything that's in the pantry that I need to not eat, that the kids do, or whatever.
Right.
Actually purchased. Yeah, But anyway, and then I lied of one more, Kris. How important is it weight versus weight loss versus inches lost?
See, you're gonna need another half an hour. Okay. Weight loss versus inches lost.
Or does it not matter at all?
I would say I'd say inches lost, because if for instance, you go to my page, you look at some of these 28-day challenge transformations, and you look at the before and after, and you're like, wow, that's a massive transformation. They lost 20 pounds. I have 2 in particular where it looks like a completely different person, but they lost 1 and 2 pounds, right? And that's because of the muscle mass. They definitely had a faster metabolism, but the muscle mass they were able to put on in a short amount of time while losing an incredible amount of body fat, right? So inches lost is important. Weight loss is also great, but you can lose weight and be doing it in an unhealthy way, which will only lead to you gaining more weight later, right? And so, like, I'm more into weight release than weight loss, because if you lose weight, and look, many of us have lost the same 5 or 10 pounds over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
And it stands to reason that if you lose something, you can find it again. And many of us lose those pounds and we find them again, because we're not dealing with the underlying spiritual or soul level reason that helps us gain weight in the first place, either through emotional eating or stress eating, or eating because we're bored, right? Or eating because we need some kind of escape or freedom. And so once we deal with those underlying soul level reasons, then we won't lose weight, we will release it. It will be gone forever. And so you don't go through that cycle, right? So I'd say weight release is important, and inches and how your body looks are going to tell a better story than the weight that you lose. And look, at the end of the day, as much as I help people lose weight and change their bodies, the weight of your worth is not just in the physicality, it's in the spirit that is inside. And so we should strive to take care of our bodies to express the highest version of that spirit inside. So how we look, our confidence, how we feel, our strength, and our vitality.
Well, so
I love that. I love that. And I remember talking to you last time about weight loss versus weight release. And I'm really glad we had the opportunity to hear that again, because I think it's such a beautiful concept and it makes so much sense. Just for myself personally, when my husband was sick, I did put on, 20, 25 pounds. And then when his illness finished, that was shed easily. And I realized after talking to you, and you don't even know this, I was like, that's why that weight left, because the trauma of caring for my husband at that time left too. So anyways, thank you for that. It was just a really neat thing for me, and it meant a lot. So thank you, Robert. And thank you for your time with us here this evening. We appreciate that so much. I'm going to circle us back to the summit, and we're going to wrap up if everybody feels good about that. So we have been asking, Elizabeth, did you have something to say before
Nope, no, good.
We've been asking all of our summit guests to answer this question. We've been using the focus, the incredible yes. So an incredible yes is a moment or a time, something you said yes to that changed your life exponentially. And you may have many incredible yeses in your life, but we would invite you, Robert, to share what is a time in your life that you had an incredible yes.
We talked about one, which was with Mark Malkov. I didn't know where that journey was going to take me in terms of doing the six-pack abs challenge, and not knowing whether I was ready. But I think the next incredible yes was deciding to open my own studio. I'd worked in other studios before, I'd shared other studios before, and my lease was up. And it came to a point where we were looking for a studio within a certain budget. I was looking for a studio within a certain budget with a certain size. And what I was looking for just didn't exist in New York. And so I was thinking about, well, maybe now it's time to pack it in. And I remember having a talk with my wife, and my wife was like, maybe it's time for you to dream bigger. And maybe it's time to recognize what the small thinking that you're trying to hold on to. It's time to let go of that and really go for what it is that you want. And so now I was kind of like, oh shoot, okay, that's I wasn't expecting all of that.
Wise woman.
But in going for it has led to so many other things, and a community that we've built, and opportunity to speak to people like you, and yeah, it's great to have a business that's working, but I think it's more encouraging to me to have something that's really building community and helping touch people in a different way. So I think it was recognizing the fear, feeling afraid, and still saying yes anyway. So
I love it. And our second question is, what is your best tip on accountability?
Best tip on it, you just got to have, for me, you just got to have a bunch of people around you who love you and who will tell you the truth. I mean, it sounds easy, but it's not easy. That you've got to build relationships and sometimes put yourself out there. Sometimes it's not reciprocated, but you got to not give up on that, because I think in our own, I always say, when we're in our own heads, too much, we do get a little weird, right? We do just kind of veer off, and so for me, I think
about that.
it's just like you need people in your life who are like, yeah, that might be true, but maybe you want to look at it this way. You know what I mean? So I just think it's building those relationships and hanging on to those relationships where you know that they love you and that they're going to tell you the truth. And sometimes they're not always right, but those people will hold you accountable, and you've got to ask for it. You've got to actively seek it, because it's not easy for them. Nobody wants to, it's great when they're cheering you on, but to be that person that has to stop your friend to say, this is probably not the best decision, that's not easy for them. And so you've got to be able to put yourself in a position where you give them the permission to be able to be that for you, and you for them. So
yeah, that tough love is hard, but it is important. I agree with you on that. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your giveaways. I know we mentioned the 2 weeks to the app that we're going to give everyone there, but we also didn't mention yet, you are also an author, and you're giving away one of your books, The Magic.
Yes, The Magic. The Magic works for everybody, but what I started to do, I do a lot of work with disadvantaged communities, right? And so one of the communities we work with is women of color. And so the stories relate to everybody. The Magic is stories of wellness journeys of different women. And it's just showing how, some of them, what they had to overcome, some of them, the benefits that they've gotten from it. And it's from everybody from people who've worked in the White House to your stay-at-home mom. And, most of these are clients, all of them are actually clients who I've worked with. So there's these beautiful transformational pictures. And so one lucky person, I guess you guys will decide, will get to win that. So, and it should inspire you to see, the beauty and the strength that is already within you.
Beautiful. Wow. Okay, one more time on your app, give us the name of it again and where people can go.
It is The Brace Life, thebracelife.com. Don't go to the App Store. Go to thebracelife.com and sign up there. You'll get 14 days free. On March 1st, we start a 28-day challenge with me doing live classes. So if you want to experience what that is, the physical part of it, the spiritual part of it with meditation, breathing exercises, sign up, thebracelife.com.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
All right, let's do our glitter.
Okay.
Throwing glitter, more glitter. Having a party. Thank you so much.
Bye. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Good hanging out with you guys again.
Thank you.